Hello, it is I, Peter, an INFP male who moves around a lot when he talks, which a recent comment pointed out, saying that it was much more preferable to see an INFP male who moves around a lot when he talks compared to an INFP male, I guess, who doesn't move at all and is very, I guess, still. But thank you so much for that comment. I think it's very important to use your hands a lot in life because we spend too much time texting and we don't get to see people's body language enough, so I'm trying to compensate for that. So I'm going to try and use my hands even more and more when I talk. So what I thought I'd do in this quick video is a very INFP video where I'm trying to make people feel better and accept themselves more by pointing out that when it comes to the 16 personality types, that I really do think it's much more beneficial when you find out what your type is to don't get too caught up obviously on the letters, don't get caught up on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or any of that. But I think it's much better to look at the socionics approach, which they've got a lot of different ways to define what the personality types are in socionics, but an INFP would be called an FINE. Fine, I'm fine. And what that means is I'm an introverted feeling, extroverted intuitor. If you're an ESTP, you would be an extroverted sensing, introverted thinker. I think it really paints a much better picture of what the type is if you just look at their first two functions, because that's their strength, really. It's always going to be their real strength, the source of power. And I think sometimes when we get into personality types, first of all, people just get caught up in the letter system, which is not particularly helpful. It can be a little bit helpful. And then they also, when they get into the cognitive functions, then they get focused on their blind spots, their inferior functions, child functions, demon functions, and start wondering, well, how can I strengthen this? How can I become an Übermensch, a Superman or a Superwoman or something? How can I fix what's wrong with me? Which is another problem with society. You don't have to fix all those things. You can just sort of focus on your strengths because you're always going to be happier and succeed more with those things. So obviously you might say as an INFP, you need to work on your extroverted thinking and your introverted sensing. If you want to be happier, confront your shadow, become more organized. And I think there's a lot of discussion out there on why INFPs have to do that. Otherwise they're this idea is if they're introverted feeling all the time, they're just miserable, not doing anything. They're all abstract or it's treated as quite a bad thing. I think there's a lot of stuff out there talking about introverted feeling like it's just this emotional thing. When they give it kudos, it's only as an emotional thing as well, or an artistic thing. But it's not really true. It's really not true, I don't think. I think if you just look at yourself as being a positive INFP, for example, I'm just using myself as an example as usual, but introverted feeling should be a complex way of analyzing humanity and values in a positive way. It doesn't mean that you're getting caught. It shouldn't mean that you're just getting caught up in your emotions all the time. It should mean that you've got a mastery of the complexity of ideas and people and animals and values and harmony and identity, and coupling that with extroverted intuition is this really strong point that you've got as well. You've got this mastery of destiny and seeing what destiny other people can have, what your destiny could be. And obviously that's going to help a lot with, if you're an artist, it's a great way to express that, but it can also be used in all your human interactions, everything you do. You can be very aware that if you're developing all the time and enriching your main functions, you might have been, in my case, super shy growing up, super nervous, super always worrying about what if all the time, but that's a good thing because you read more and you research more and you have more and more experiences because you become a supercharged introverted feeling, extroverted intuitor. Or if you're an ISFP, you're again, complex understanding of human emotion and nature and everything. And then you have to express it through the physical world, or extroverted sensing, whatever that is. I don't know, it's my blind spot, but and they become a master at that lifestyle to make them happy. If an ISFP was just to focus on their not poor, but their inferior extroverted thinking and have to explain themselves all the time, it's good to be able to explain yourself when you have to. But it's the great thing about INFPs and ISFPs and INFJs as well, who have extroverted thinking in their blind spot, is they shouldn't have to explain everything. It's very irritating to a lot of people to have everything explained to them, and people can have their own power with their own confidence, where they don't have to be systematic, and it allows them to be more original. Now, this can be flipped in any way as well, like in any other way. Like ENTJs shouldn't be forced to live in a world of introverted feeling all the time. Or they shouldn't feel that they're really, they've got to, obviously for them, they just have to have enough of it to get by. But if you were to force them to live life as an ISFP and an ENTJ, forcing them to live into their shadow, they're not going to be happy. Or getting an ENFJ to be an ISTP making them be an ENFJ all the time. I've seen INTPs try to get very nervous and trying to be an ESFJ all the time and hold social gatherings. I've seen them do that, and they usually run away in the middle of the party and never come back. It's not what they're best at. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, this rambling video on the topic of focusing on your strengths. So let me know what your strengths are, and whether you agree with what I'm saying or not, or if you think that I'm partly right, or if I'm completely wrong. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But I think I'm right in this case. But I shouldn't say that, because that's an extroverted thinking thing for me to say. So forget that. All right. Anyway, I've been Peter. Good to see you again, and I'll see you next time.